Macam flash gun juga.
Yeah, that's yours. That's yours.
No, Sanuja.
Sanuja, yeah.
Stand by, Sarah. Sarah, stand by.
Here we go, eh?
Yes.
It's going to be tough photos.
Yes, really.
Come in, Leslie. Come inside before you can.
So firing effective rate. It's about 30 minutes.
Yes, yes.
Also, we are doing from Uganda.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's made to carry on your shoulder. So they have
You can still see me, devoted form of life. At the end of the
cultural heritage items from the Netherlands. And these 6 artifacts had been taken from Sri Lanka by the Dutch during colonial times, have finally now been repatriated after more than 250 years. And I remember so well that we had a conference about 2 years ago in the Dutch city of Leiden concerning the provenance research that had been done on these objects from Sri Lanka and also on objects from Indonesia. Dutch and Sri Lankan researchers had worked together on this research, together also with the museums. And the results were presented. And it was crystal clear that these objects had been taken by the Dutch from Sri Lanka at the time, that they were not a gift. The conference ended with a video message from DG Sanuja, in which she clearly stated again that Sri Lanka demanded these artifacts to be repatriated. In August of this year, these objects, including the famous cannon of candy, were already legally transferred to Sri Lanka by State Secretary Bunai Uslu during a vulnerable ceremony here in Colombo hosted by you, Mr. Wickramanayake. So they were already Sri Lankan again, but they were still at the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam until a few days ago. And last week, DG ශනයට and a small delegation traveled to the Netherlands, and you observed the packing of these objects at the museum. And now, after a long journey, they are finally back home on Sri Lankan soil. And I would like to congratulate all of you. From today, these valuable objects will be on display in the Colombo National Museum. And I find that maybe the most important thing, that from now on the Sri Lankan public can visit these cultural treasures and learn more about their history, but also about the long historical and cultural ties between our countries. Ladies and gentlemen, it is wonderful to speak about the topic of restitution with an audience that understands the importance of bonds between countries. We already have had intensive cultural heritage cooperation in the past years, and we have also shared expertise amongst museum professionals from both our countries. And it is in fact that intense cooperation that has made this return also possible. It has been the work of the museums, the work of researchers, our committee of returning objects of the colonial collections, and the Commission here in Sri Lanka have diligently worked together. And this is something that we will continue to do. We have seen also traces of the Dutch presence that can still be visited here in other parts of the country, for instance in Gala, and we will continue to work together. Restitution is about repairing historical injustice and strengthening these bonds. The importance of restitution of colonial objects hinges on two principles. Firstly, it entails the recognition of past historical injustices that were done to the indigenous population of colonial territories, when cultural heritage objects were taken against their will. Injustices that will continue as long as these objects remain in the possession of Dutch museums against the will of countries of origin. Secondly, it entails our readiness to rectify these historical injustices. This is a key principle of our Dutch policy on dealing with colonial collections now. And it is an acknowledgement that the appropriation of many cultural, historical and religious objects looted from colonial territories and the display of these in Dutch museums as if belonging to the Dutch can no longer hold. Dealing with our colonial heritage is, however, not only about rectifying what happened in the past, because we would also really like to look at the possibilities this offers for our cooperation in the future. And like you mentioned, Minister, this is only the start. Because we would also like to use this as a means to deepen our cooperation and to deepen our bilateral relations. Because we can continue to do provenance research together on other objects. Sri Lankans and Dutch researchers are able to contribute in this way to a polyvocal view on history. And it might hopefully increase our mutual understanding, and it will surely create more bonds between each other. And we would like to broaden cooperation in provenance research as well as in museum exchanges. And we have made that part of our plans for the coming years. And perhaps it is good to say that focusing on heritage is not only the only object that we are working on. We will explore our shared past, but also it is really important to include other types of cooperation in the cultural field that might also reach different groups. For example, modern art, dance, design, but also maybe public debate about what we are currently doing. And I think this kind of cooperation contributes to getting to know each other better, to our people-to-people relations, because let's not forget that art really is our soft power. These 6 wonderful objects are the first that have returned now to where they belong. And as our State Secretary Gunay Oesloe said in August, this does not end their biographies. Instead, together we will be writing new and hopeful chapters. So I am very proud to have been able to participate today in this beautiful ceremony, and I would like to thank you for the way that you are hosting this, and I really feel touched by also doing this with everyone here together. And I look forward to what lies ahead of us in this journey that we are undertaking. Thank you. Thank you very much to everyone.
Then Deputy Ambassador Ivan Roger